Hi, everybody. Well, this is my Gospel according to. My name's Nathan, if you don't know who I am. I hope this finds you well, and I've decided today to share some stories about God as my provider and my family's provider. So I've got three stories for you, and they are all to do with the places that I've lived. So we'll get straight into it. So the first story is about how we got our first house. Me and Jen, we got married in 2010, and so throughout 2009, we were obviously looking for a place to live where we could settle down and make our first home together. And it didn't seem to matter what was happening. We were looking and looking, and we just couldn't find anything that really grabbed us, anything that really kind of ticked all the boxes for us. We didn't have a lot of boxes to tick. We just wanted somewhere to live. But everything we went and saw just wasn't quite right. It just didn't really work. And so the year went on, and we kind of started getting into Christmas. So I think we got into kind of the 1st or 2nd of December, and we'd just seen a couple more houses one weekend. And we just thought, you know what, we're going to wait until after Christmas. We're going to leave it for Christmas, and we'll go and look again in the new year. Things are kind of winding down as people are kind of getting ready for Christmas. They're not putting stuff on the market. There's not a lot of new stuff coming up, so we'll stop. In the new year, we'll start afresh and find something hopefully quickly in the new year, because we were getting married in the May. So we decided to do that, and we were kind of carried on planning the wedding. And it must have been a couple of days after we decided that we were going to stop, that I got a phone call from the estate agent that we'd put our names down for. And he said, look, this property's just come back on. You guys wouldn't have seen it because it was on for kind of 20% more than what you could afford. But the offer and the house exchange and stuff has fallen through because of something that happened in one of the families. And they actually accepted an offer that was within your price range, which was about 25% less than what they were actually asking for. And they'd accepted this offer. Would you like to come and have a look at it? So we thought, yeah, this sounds pretty good. So they sent some photos over. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, I reckon we can do something with this. I reckon this could be a goer. So me and Jen went over, viewed the place. It was a little semi-detached bungalow in Parkstone, and we just thought, this is fantastic. It's got everything we wanted, and had a fantastic garden as well. We weren't particularly looking for a garden, but that was just a big bonus for us. And so we put in an offer on the house, and we got it for kind of 25% less than the asking price. It was within our budget. And then the only thing was that it needed a lot of work doing. So kind of in the new year, once we got the keys in February, actually, kind of the end of February, we kind of split into kind of two teams. Jen took on the wedding, and I took on sorting out the house. And so we had to get everything done in it. And that was also amazing as well, with parents helping out to get the work done with money, but also, calling in favours from people. One of our wedding gifts was my uncles came and plumbed in the bathroom. And so after we got married and we come back from honeymoon, we actually moved into essentially a brand new house, a new place for us to live. Everything had been done, new carpets, everything plastered, new kitchen, new bathroom, the whole lot. And that was really amazing, to walk into something that was just essentially brand new, a place that we loved, that had more of a garden than we expected. We liked some outside space, and it was just fantastic. It was just perfect, exactly what we needed and what we wanted. So that was our first, even before we were actually married, that was our first sign of God's provision, that He does provide for us. So that is house number one. Now, I've only lived in two houses, okay? So this is story number two, and this is about where we're living now, our second house together. And so we got married in 2010, and 3 years later, we had Lexi, our first, in 2013. So she's now 7, which makes me feel like life is passing me by very quickly. But it was fantastic to welcome her into the world in 2013. And it was great to have that time together, growing up with kids when they're young. It's one of those where you kind of a massive adjustment for everybody, but fantastic. Anyway, she must have been around kind of 9 months, and we knew we weren't going to stay in Parkstone for forever. We wanted to move back, if not back into Litchit Matravers, then into somewhere near, more kind of Wareham way, out that way. And so we'd kind of discussed this ourselves. We weren't planning on moving for certainly a few more years. The pressure wasn't on. But incredibly, one day, the lady who lives in the house that we now currently live in, she walked up the road and knocked on my mum and dad's house. And they opened the door, and her words to them were, "I don't suppose one of your boys would like to buy my house." So which is incredible. I've never heard of that really ever happening at all. Someone just comes up and says, "I don't suppose someone who'd like to buy my house." So we came up, and again we had a look, and we were able to kind of avoid a lot of the estate agent's fees by doing it privately and stuff. We already knew that we love to live here. We know these houses well. We know they're fantastic. We know good schools around for kids and all that kind of stuff. And so we managed again to get this house for probably 15% less than market value, and we were able to move into Litchit, into a place where we wanted to live, and where we've been for the past 2014, so 6.5 years now, and it's just been fantastic. It's been great. We're so close to family. Nearly all of our immediate family, my immediate family with sisters-in-law, live in the village, apart from Micah and Emily. I'm sure they'll make their way down this way at some point. That seems to be the law of Litchit. We all have to live in here, and so it was just fantastic. Again, a house almost kind of dropping in your lap when you weren't even wanting it. I think with God's provision, as we've gone through our married life, it's been amazing to see how God, he gives you things even, what's the word? It's not that you don't want, because we'd have wanted to live here, but he gives you things just because he wants to give them to you. It's not my timing. It wasn't my timing. I wasn't thinking of moving up here and living in Litchit, but it was like, well, here's the house. Here's the perfect house for you. Go and live in this. And in fact, I remember a dream I had years before when we were living in Parkstone, and I saw this house in the dream. It was a red brick house, which is what this house is, and it had white windows. And our bungalow in Parkstone was a painted one. And so the very fact that I kind of had this dream about this house. I didn't know at the time it was this house, but I remember thinking in the dream, "Oh man, yeah, I'd really like to live there. That's kind of my perfect place because I don't have to paint anything on the outside." So there you go. So there's house 1 and house 2, and the last story I just want to share is about the extension that we got built this year in this house. So a few years ago, Jen had started her own business, a cake business, and it was going really well, and it has been going really well. Obviously, it's been a bit trickier since this last year, so we're recording this in October 2020, so we've had COVID to deal with. But her business has been going really well, cake business. She does wedding cakes and celebration cakes for people. But we'd been thinking, what, it would be great to have a bigger kitchen, somewhere with a bit more room, where Jen could, have a nice place to work, where there would be much more work surface space, all of that kind of practical stuff. But also it would be lovely to have a big kind of family room. It would give us more kind of living space in here, in this 3-bed house. And so we decided, probably in 2017, so 3 years ago, something like that, we're going to get some plans drawn up and apply for planning permission and get a price for how much the building work would cost. So we did, what we could. We didn't really have a lot of money at that time. So we did what we could. We got the drawings done, we got the planning permission in, and we got a quote for the work. And that made me think, my word, I'm going to have to work for the next 20 years to pay for this, if I'm honest, when those figures came up. And so we kind of, just over the next couple of years, we knew we had the planning, and we knew that we could probably, if we got it started, then we'd have the planning kind of sorted. If we got the footings in, then we have the planning sorted. We even thought maybe we could do essentially the foundations and like the slab at the back. And then we could use that as a patio almost while we saved for other bits and pieces and looked for more money. So we are having all of these ideas and doing our best. You save, you do your little bit. Anyway, a couple of years go by, and we kind of are telling people, oh yeah, we want to get planning done, and we want to have this extension and stuff. And one of my, in fact, it would come up. This is it. The builder would come and said, look, what you're thinking, kind of thing. We know him quite well, and we were kind of like, look, it's a lot of money, and we don't really have that money at the moment. But during this time, one of our grandparents had heard about what we were wanting to do, and she said, I want to give you some money to that. And so we got a check which had 2 zeros on it, right? We got a check for about £500 from one of our grandparents, and it was like, oh wow, this is amazing. That's good. You know what? Thank you, God. We have more money than we did have, and that's fantastic. And so I remember just thanking God, saying, thank you for that 500. Thank you that the money's going to come in. Thinking, I don't know how or this is going to happen, but I'm sure it will. A couple of months later, another grandparent hears what we're doing, and they're selling a business and stuff, and they want to give some money to the family. And so this time we get some more money from another grandparent, and this time this one has 3 zeros on it. And so we're thinking, oh, this is good. This is getting better. And we're kind of, again, we're celebrating that. You know what? It's nowhere near enough that we need to kind of get going with this. But you know what? We're going to celebrate that anyway. And as we kind of get that, Jen says, well, we've had one with 2 zeros on it, and we've had one with 3 zeros on it. So maybe the next one's going to have 4 zeros on it. That's what I think. And I remember thinking, okay. I mean, I'll go with that. That sounds good, but I can't say that my faith was particularly mighty at this point. So a little more time goes on, and now we're thinking, oh, you know what? We'd really like to get this started, because soon planning permission's going to run out, and we ought to at least get something done. And then we hear that another grandparent, so this is the third set of grandparents, is selling their house, and they're moving to a different home, and they want to, give a load of money to the family. And so we get a phone call from a parent who says, yeah, this is happening. They're going to sell their house. They want to move out. And they want to give all of us money, and I want to give you some money as well. And so in this phone call, we find out that this one, we've already had 2 zeros. We've already had 3 zeros. And this one is going to come with 4 zeros on it. And so we were like, oh my word. I'm thinking, say something that's going to have 5 zeros, Jane, because here we go. This is going to be it. And so this one had 4 zeros on it, and it was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. And the builder comes up to us and says, look, we've had a job. We went to a job the other day thinking we were going to start, but turns out they haven't even got planning permission through yet. And so would you like us to start kind of in the next 8 weeks? We'll start at the beginning of March. And we said, well, okay, we've already had all this money. Why don't we do it? Jen was like, yep, we're going to do this. Again, I'm thinking, okay, I trust you. I trust God, I hope. And so we we got this whole build done. It was kind of right at the beginning of lockdown, but they were able to kind of work outside and do all the outside stuff while they were doing that, and it went up incredibly quickly. And we managed to find money, and parents were able to give us money, and we were able to borrow some. We were able to get this incredible extension done, which is exactly what we wanted. It was just everything that we wanted. We managed to get, and so God has just been so good to us, particularly with homes and houses and things like that, but also in other little things. I know Jen has a great story that started with getting 10p back from British Gas, and maybe she'll tell that one day. But just to say that, God looks out for us, and he wants to give us good things. And even when we're not sure, like me, and even when we're full of faith, like Jen, he's always with us, and he's always wanting to look after us, and that it doesn't stop me worrying still. I think you think, oh man, I've had all of these amazing testimonies, and surely, there should be no problem. I should just be able to step out in anything and be fine with it. But it doesn't quite work like that, it seems. But it's good to just remind ourselves of these stories, and it's just been good for me to talk to you this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whenever you're watching it, and remind myself of, oh man, you know what, God has done these amazing things in my life, and that I can trust him, even when the chips are down, even when it's fantastic and everything's going right, even when I'm in the victory, even when I'm in the valley, it doesn't matter, that he wants to provide for us, and he wants to give us good things. So I hope you've enjoyed the stories. I hope it's encouraged you, and I'm sure we will speak again soon.